Get blessed, confess, finesse, and enjoy the process. In the name of Jesus. Look, man, this is a crazy um this is a crazy episode today. First of all, got all the scenery changed up on us, you know what I'm saying? Look, man, we talking about Terrence Howard today. Interesting stuff. Let's get in. Hey man, look, glad to be in the building. I'm on my ruse line today. I'm just gonna be real with you. Look, everybody, Instagram world, we're live on Instagram. We're live on YouTube. Insert ad. I could just click insert ad. That's crazy. Wow. Look, if y'all want to hear some of this, sometimes I might be, playing some piano, some music every now and again. I don't think y'all be able to hear that. See, if I turn it up, it's gonna be an echo. So we looking at some crazy things today. We're looking at some crazy things. It's going to be exciting. So guys, if you can please help, if you enjoy, the content that we bring, please remember to like the video and also subscribe if you're feeling it. Hit the bell notification, get notified every time we go live. We go live every Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know how we're going to continue to go about the show, but I still plan to be going live. You see, I'm on Instagram. What's up, Instagram family on the side? And look, guys, we got a new little camera angle right here. Ooh, yeah. Look, man, I'm just trying to give y'all some entertainment. We're gonna have a good time in the Lord. Amen. Hallelujah. We're turning up in the name of Jesus. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is a new setting today. So I'm gonna be doing more videos like this, um, you know, for the time being. So if you're new, everybody on Instagram, y'all can uh hear a little better if you check out the YouTube page, JAK Podcast. Let me see. I'm gonna tell everybody, please go to JAK Podcast. You can also click the link in the description on YouTube because we're about to get into some crazy stuff in a second. I'm just gonna tell you. About to get into some crazy stuff. Okay. So, first order of business, Brother Ashley, keeping it saturated. I need to take another picture of him because I know y'all be thinking, how y'all get that angle? And it's just a picture. So, God bless that. You feel me? We're doing big things. What am I saying, man? Look, God bless y'all, bro. We about to get into this. This is crazy. So first of all, Terrence Howard, he's been kind of going viral. It's been kind of crazy how everything's been going with Terrence. Joe Rogan, and he's talked about some Terryology that he just came up with, I guess. So, and I'm not gonna lie. First thing when I looked at all these videos, I thought, man, this guy is super smart. He's a really smart guy. A lot of stuff he's saying obviously makes no sense. I mean, I looked at it and I started laughing. I sent it to some of the fam. They started laughing. I'm just like, it's really crazy. But let me go ahead and show you some of this stuff. So Terrence Howard believes he has created and discovered his own logic language, which he calls Terryology. He has spent about 8 years trying to mathematically prove that 1 times 1 equals 2. Yeah, it's crazy. And that zero doesn't exist. So this man is over here telling us that there's no such thing as zero. Like zero is a fake concept. Like that just blows my mind. Let me make sure my Do not disturb is on over there. Okay. So he believes, yeah, one times one equals one. I mean, one times one equals two. That's what he believes. And then he believes that zero doesn't exist, right? So we're gonna get into that. Very, very crazy. Make sure. And to make sure that's on. So he credits um he credits Iron Man's success to his role. We'll talk about that. Really crazy. He should credit Tony Stark, for his expert knowledge. You know what I'm saying? He was in the movies. So he probably, picked up some stuff from your boy Tony. So, first of all, before we get into the video, let's kill this real quick, this one times one equals two thing. Cause this is, I know some people in the chat, they're like, all right, so we know that one times one is two. Actually, we don't believe in that anyways. So it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? And that's great. But just because I'm a stickler, and for some of those people that think that one times one is actually two, there's a few people out there, a few Terrence Howard followers, whatever. I just want to go ahead and kill this real quick because, yeah, this is crazy. So, Terrence Howard is stuck on the word time. Matter of fact, do I have the article in here? I think I do. Let me pull it up real quick. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, in a 2015 interview with Rolling Stones, um, Howard explained that he had formulated his own language of logic, right? Which he called Terryology, in which he was keeping secret until now, and he patented it. He's got like a million patents, right? That's what he says, like a lot of patents. I'm exaggerating, but this logic language he claimed would be used to prove the statement that one times one equals two. I don't understand it. So he's speaking to a professor. It's like, how can it equal one? Oh, wait a minute. Who was it? Rolling Stones. Howard explains for me. Okay. So the guy says, how can it equal one? If one times one equals one. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting this all wrong. Excuse me. So, how can it equal one? Is what Terrence was saying. If one times one equals one, that means that two times two. What does he say? That two is of no value because one times itself has no effect. One times one equals two because the square root of four is two. So what's the square root of two? Should be one, and we're told it's two, and that cannot be. I mean, okay, what's the rest of this? I just want to make sure I get his whole. He's got a book out and very interesting stuff. What's this say? If one times one equals one, then yeah. That's some nice little piece of art that was posted. Everybody's loving the. What you talking about, Willis? Oh man, let me see here. Okay, so yeah, that's the same thing. Matter of fact, I'm trying to find the other one. Which one is this? Okay, so he's like other brain regions are also involved in memory. What is this brain structure? Okay, sorry about that. No. So, so the one times one thing. First of all, if he's saying one times one is two, he doesn't understand like grammar. He's trying to make math into a science, right? So it's math is not like some magical formula that causes things to happen. Magic is math is a language. That's all it is. So when you're saying, "Oh no, one times one actually equals two," you're just not you're not speaking in correct language. Like you can't just change math. That makes no sense. So one times one, I think he's getting stuck on the word times because times has like a plural meaning, and he's getting what he's doing, he's being a stickler for this word times. So when he's saying 1 times 1 equals 2, he's saying, oh, the word times is there. I mean, that's got to be what he's doing, because 1 times 1 doesn't mean 1 multiple times. That's not what it means. Because in his book, he has this little diagram with I think I showed you, matter of fact, what was it? This picture right here. So he's got, no, my bad. He's got a diagram. You can look it up. It basically shows like an if there's 2 on this, if there's 1 on this side, then, and there's 2 numbers on this side, there's a 1 and a 1 on this. It's like, okay, you're doing addition, bro. You're doing addition. Like, just stop saying that 1 times 1 equals 2 just so you can sound smart. I don't know what he's doing. But 1 times 1 is just saying 1 time. If I have 1 cup, I'm saying 1 time. If I say I'm going to say the number 1 time, that means, okay, you're going to say the number 1 time then. That's what 1 times 1 means. I mean, I know it's simple math for y'all, but, some people just don't understand, the human language. It's crazy. But in math language, 1 times 1 just means 1 time. It's very simple. How many apples do you have? I have 1 apple once. Like, if you had 1 apple twice, like, I wonder what he thinks 1 times 2 is. That must be 3. Like, I don't understand. Like, you can't get anywhere if you're that's like when you go into, like, what is a woman? Like, we're changing the definition of things, and it's just a waste of time, because now we can't even communicate correct language anymore. And it gets way worse, bro. It gets way crazier. I promise you. It's like, I don't believe it, but yeah. So I went through that. He basically he's getting kind of like triggered, kind of like if you see those movies where the guy's a schizophrenic, and they like, basically he's seeing the grammar behind the word times, instead of understanding what mathematics are actually trying to communicate. But let me show you this video, bro, because this stuff is going to get really crazy really quick. So let's go to Exhibit A with Terrence Howard. Matter of fact, whoops. You go here. Sorry about that. All right, let's do it.
I was born Terrence Deshaun Howard. I've become an actor. I've been nominated for Oscars and Golden Globes and SAG Awards, but those weren't the things that really moved me. As a child, I studied chemical engineering at Pratt Institute, was there for 2 years until I saw that there was an inconsistency with the math there. And so I went out to explore a new way of understanding how the universe worked, and I was able to define the grand unified field equation they've been looking for and put it into geometry. And then with that geometry, I was able to put props on that. And what I'm saying is, now we have invented a new form of flight that I would like to bring here to Uganda, to replace the drones, to replace the helicopters, to replace the planes. We have all the funding necessary. What we need is just a fertile ground in which to build this. Now, this is the geometry of hydrogen. Of hydrogen. Hydrogen. This is the proton itself. So any bond that hydrogen can make, our linchpins are able to make. So we're talking about unlimited bonding, unlimited predictable structures, supersymmetry. And the linchpins are now able to behave as a swarm, as a colony.
Hold up, my bad.
Remove plastics from the ocean, that can give the children of Uganda and the people of Uganda an opportunity to spread this and to sell these products throughout the world. So we are no longer just selling agricultural products and pieces from the land. We can now sell and take center stage with technology. But the main purpose is to defend the sovereignty of a peaceful place and a peaceful people, without having to have our young men lose their lives.
What's that?
The real life Tony Stark. Till y'all, man. So he's basically trying to build something to help Uganda, and I don't think it's up and running yet, but that's something that was very old. So you can tell like he's been on this path. He's creating things, and he talks very heavy in this science type talk. So obviously, a lot of the terms are hard to break down, but just because someone sounds smart and they're speaking, with their third eye, if you get what I'm saying, just because they're speaking with their third eye doesn't mean that they're actually smart at all. And when I say third eye, I'm making a joke because I don't believe in that stuff. But I'm just saying, like, let me move this out of the way. Sorry. I just set this stuff up yesterday, so I'm still trying to get it all together. You feel me? But yeah, just because somebody's speaking, with this, the Bible speaks about this, the high sounding nonsense of Colossians 2 and 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and after Christ. So there are things that people are spoiling you with, and you can trust someone when they say anything true, when they start spouting off things. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I'm sure Terrence Howard is very smart, but if you can't be like, you're so smart that you're able to say that zero doesn't exist, and you're so smart to say 1 × 1 = 2. It's like, you missed it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I have to judge everything according to what you are saying. I can't judge you according to, oh, you said that one thing. You really, like, no, that 1 × 1 is 1. You can't just be making up stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, what's the next clip? Now this is even crazy. I'm telling you, the more we go down this rabbit hole, the more you're gonna see. And I do have a point to make out of this, like that. I don't think this guy just was off. I mean, I think when he comes to this type of stuff, that there's some demons at work. And I know Christians, oh, spiritual talk. Christians is over here talking about some, you possessed with demons. Oh yeah, all they want to say is somebody possessed. But I'm telling you, you're gonna see. You're gonna see. I'm not just saying this stuff just because he sounds smart. If you haven't seen, and been tuned into what's going on with him. So let's see here. So this is the next thing. He's bringing this item to the view, and he's showing them, his model. So this was hilarious to me.
Well, I'm going to talk about this since we're here. This is the proof that the square root of 2 is a rational number.
Yes.
Now, this is the point where 4 bubbles meet equally and oppositely.
touch it?
Yes. And it's where 12 planes meet. This is an undiscovered geometry.
You see, we're gonna get into Joe Rogan. Oh man. Just bringing up the models, and you got it right. Just bringing up when I say models, guys, I'm talking about the plastic bubble model that he put on that table. It's so funny to me, man. Like, I don't get it, yo. I really don't get it. It's just because, okay. I'm not trying to like clown Terrence or anything like that, but once you go so deep into things, I mean, he's got the model. He's saying undiscovered, uh, the undiscovered math. It's like, I think when people mess up is they jump the gun. It's like, yo, there's nothing wrong with having a theory, having a hypothesis, but while you're studying this hypothesis, that needs to change. But I'm gonna get into this next clip, man. This is wild. This part, look, I gotta prepare y'all for this because this just blew my mind. So y'all really pay attention to what he is saying in this. If you haven't heard the Terrence Howard and Joe Rogan podcast video yet.
How did you get started with all this?
I didn't come into this world the way everybody else does, I don't think. I used to think that everybody had the similar experience, but like if I asked you what was your first memory in life, what would it be?
I don't think I know.
My first memory was almost like when you're dreaming and you're falling and you hit the bottom and you wake up.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first memory, but I didn't wake up here. I was inside my mother's womb. And I was about maybe 6 months inside the womb. And I'm like, okay, don't forget I'm here. Okay, okay. Don't forget, don't forget, don't forget, don't forget.
Oh my gosh. You cannot tell me, bro, that you were in your mother's womb and you was sitting there saying, all right, don't forget, don't forget. It's like everything he's saying at this point, it sounds like a really good setup for like some anime show, but you cannot remember what was in your mother's womb. You can't remember yourself in your mother's womb, bro. Like, I mean, I know there are like moments where people have said like they can kind of do some tests or whatever to prove that, you know, babies can recall certain things, but as you get older, you forget that. So, anybody in the chat that remembers or knows someone who has memory, you know, from their birth, then, you know, please let me know because that just sounds crazy to me. But think about this, yo. Think about this. This man is saying he had enough understanding in this is so hard for me to even get. He had enough understanding inside of his mother's womb to say, don't, no, 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 no. That's a contradiction, yo. Because when you're outside, like us now, we would think like, oh, let me go back and try to tell myself not to forget. You can't. You talking about when your brain is not even fully developed that you can remember. You can have enough intellect in your mother's womb to say, don't forget about this. I want to remember this for. You don't even know how to. Come on, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. What's up? But look, man, that doesn't make any sense at all. That's crazy. Like, look, man, if y'all, I wonder if I can do like a poll. I think they showed me I could do like a poll somewhere. I mean, I just want to test this out to see if it's even possible. I just want to see if it's possible, but I don't know how to do it, so sorry. But yeah, so people think that you can see. I don't know. I just thought it was crazy. I just thought it was crazy. But it just doesn't make sense for him to say that he was in his mother's womb talking about, all right, don't forget, actually, you are born with tons of neurons. Well, yeah, he's talking about before he was born that he remembered he had enough intellect in his mind as a not born baby to be able to understand enough to say in his mind, don't forget this moment. Like, don't forget where you are. Like, he had enough understanding for that. You know, that's what just kind of blew my mind. But let's see what else he's saying. It just gets crazier and crazier.
You go to sleep, you wake up again. Now something's moving in front of you, and you're like, oh, that's my friend. But I had a different name for it. I didn't know it was my hand. But I knew I had a title for it. Go back to sleep, all of those things. Then ultimately you get ready to come out. I remember all of that.
You remember coming out?
remember being compressed, and you want to panic, but you're flooded with like some serotonin and dopamine to where you feel relaxed. You go right back to sleep. You remember being born. I remember being circumcised. I remember.
I'm sorry, bro. It sounds good. It sounds like a great story. They should have Terrence Howard write like some science fiction. They should have him write like some anime type stuff. Um, they should really have him write some stuff for some movies for real. I don't know if he's directing, but he should be directing. Because that's an interesting story. But there's no way that it sounds good, yo. It sounds good. It sounds like some higher intellect thinking. That you could understand that much as a baby, and it's like that's impossible. But let's hear what else he has to say. Let's give him a chance. And he said his friend, this is my friend. Oh man, we got to stop watching so many movies because there's no way. I don't know. If y'all think that this makes sense, please comment below. Please let me know. But I don't get it. Let's continue.
The whole nine, and the proof of it was when my wife Mira, that you just met, when she was 6 months pregnant with my son Kieran, I wanted to prove to her what I was talking about. So I put a light on her stomach every day at 6 o'clock at night. And I would move that light back and forth, and I'd put a song on for a week straight. On Saturday, after a week, I didn't put the light there, and I didn't do the music. And he pushed up on her stomach. And then when I put the light there, he started following the light. And for the next 2 months, we did this every night, and he would go all the way around her belly, back and forth, always pushing on it. I didn't understand at the time that maybe I've interfered with the development process, and maybe he's wrapped the cord around his neck. I shouldn't have done all of this, but it came out wonderful and fine. And this little boy, first thing he wanted to do is see light. He loved lights from that early stage, and I can ask him the square root of 2, the square root of 5, the square root of that, the square.
I wonder if you ask him the square root of 2 and he says the same answer that you say, or does he say like the mathematical answer?
Root of pi, the square, and he will run it off. But he's just like, his personality is like Forrest Gump, you know, to where he's just loving and wants everybody to be around him.
And that's that video y'all just saw a snippet of. That's gonna be crazy. The thing about it though, you see the light in his eyes when he's talking about this. It's he's very I feel like he really believes what he's saying. I don't think he's like trying to I don't think he's trying to like manipulate. I think he actually believes this stuff. I think he actually believes it because there's so much light in his eyes when he's talking about it. It's like, yo, like he's smiling and it's like, yo, like, I mean, I don't even want to tell you wrong because how happy you are right now. I don't even want to do that to you, bro. But, but this next video, now this is the video that really showed me like, oh my gosh, this is way deeper than what I thought. Like, and I'm going to get more into like, first of all, before I get into that video, I just want to, what is it? So I wish I could put it up on the screen, but it's okay. So this is his proof. This is the discussion. This is the discussion that he had with his professor when he says that the number 0 doesn't exist, right? So he says, okay, so it's fair to say that the concept of 0, this is from his book. So it's fair to say that the concept of 0 has been either misrepresented, misinterpreted, or completely misunderstood. I once had a debate with an esteemed professor of mathematics from Chicago University concerning the uh, ration of zero. Um, it went as follows. I was on a, I guess, publicity tour for the release of the feature film Retails, and we just so happened to be having dinner at the Montage Resort in Dana Point, California. I made the statement that there was no such thing as zero. He looked at me with a puzzled look upon his face for a moment, and then the professor said, let's say you had an apple, and I had an apple, and you gave me your apple. How many apples do you have? I said, I have two apples. So the professor said, you don't understand. You gave me your apple. No, you don't understand. As long as you are still inside this universe, whatever you have, I have, because everything in this universe is connected to everything else. Even if you could take my apple and place it into an adjacent universe, I would still have two apples, because as long as the universe is touching the universe, then everything in that universe is still connected to and influenced by every single atom in this universe. Therefore, my giving you an apple is paramount to me transferring my apple from left hand to my right hand, because all things are one. It may have been a bit too philosophical for him, but the first law of thermodynamics holds true here. Oh my gosh. Energy can't be created or destroyed, it can only be transferred or transformed. Does that help in understanding the illogical nature of our current concept and practice associated with zero? Nope. No, it does not, because that makes absolutely no sense. It makes zero sense, or can I not say that? So if you really like think about it though, think about that practically, yo. Like if I have, okay, Terrence Howard, he was in the Iron Man movie, and he was upset because they didn't give him enough money. Couldn't you just say that everything in the universe that is theirs is yours? So if Robert Downey Jr. made this amount of money, then that means you have that same amount of money because everything in the universe is yours. That's what you're saying. Or you could say, I need some more zeros. Even putting zero in like the number 100, like it has value. But to say that, come on, bro, it's so simple. Like if I have one cup, and if I were to steal something from you, you can't say you stole this from me anymore, because you say that everything is yours in the universe. Like this type of stuff, it's almost like petty language. Like when somebody comes up with a new thought, they get triggered because they're so focused on correcting you. They're so focused on correcting you on that thought. I came up with a new way to explain this, and every time you say that, I'm gonna debunk it. But it's like he's so focused on his wording of zero that he's missing the point that zero is the absence of a number, it's the absence of a thing. So you can't say zero doesn't exist, because how do you explain when something gets taken from you? How much do you have? Like you, we don't know how. What are you gonna do if somebody steals something from you? How are you gonna explain what happened? Well, someone transferred. Someone transferred my car into their garage. Okay, well, that's fine. You still own it, right? You still have a car, right? Well, yeah. So what's the problem, sir? You still have the car. He just transferred it. He just transferred your car to another garage. That's not the place that's usually. You get what I'm saying. Things like this just. are very interesting to me, I will say. I can't believe he believes that. But I'm going to show you, man, where this rabbit hole goes, because y'all think this man studied some stuff. People don't just fall upon not like, I know we can say stuff and we can sound crazy, but people don't just fall on some nonsense type talking. This is not just like, I can say stuff and I can sound really crazy. If we get into a discussion about like I know there are words that sound really, some of the stuff that Terrence Howard speaks on and on a Joe Rogan podcast, I'm sure like a lot of that stuff was true. I'm sure. And that's all the devil got to do to you, is tell you some truth to get you to believe everything else. If a person prophesies to you and they tell you everything that you did when you were at home and then what you went through exactly by detail, then you trust them way too much after that, because the devil can also tell you truth about yourself as well. But we want to listen to the person that sounds so smart, that is so convincing, that wants to put fear in us. Because if we don't catch on, what's going to happen to it? All these tactics. And the first person I try to look at is myself. Like, if I'm trying to manipulate someone, then that means that I have already manipulated myself into believing this. I've already convinced myself, most likely, that what I'm saying is true. And I'm not 100% sure, but I'm telling myself I'm 100% sure. Because I saw the door open. The first thing I said, and I'm all for, I believe in God. I believe that spiritual things happen. But if I see a door open, my first thought, oh, look at God. Like, just calm down. Like, one thing I learned from some atheists is a little skepticism is not a bad thing. Obviously, I'm not going to go as far as an atheist, but if the door opens, it could be that your house is a little off level. I'm just saying, just slow your roll. The Bible says be anxious for nothing, but everything through prayer and supplication. So if you see something crazy like that, just pray on it. It may be some natural phenomenon. It may be some natural thing that happened, and you're assuming it's spiritual. Just because you heard the prophet get really detailed with you. I mean, I'm not going to go as far as say maybe he talked to somebody before the service, but maybe the reason he said you're so depressed and so hurt is because he looked at your face and he saw it, because you're showing your hand very well. It may be you think that you're hiding it, and people can see you don't even want to be here. I could look at somebody in the face and tell they don't want to be here. I don't have to be no prophet. So you got to pay attention to those things, man. That's, whoo, hallelujah. That's a word. Hallelujah. Sorry, let me get back into this video. Okay, so this is where everything goes crazy. You feel me? This is where everything starts to get to rocking. All right, here's the video.
What was that preparation like, preparing? Because I've heard you say a couple of things in other interviews, and I want to ask you about that because I did some acting and studying acting, and you said something I've never really heard a lot of actors say about the process of acting. And you said that sometimes when you walk off, they walk off with your clothes.
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
Well, as an actor, you're more like a medium.
Mm-hmm.
When you really get there, you.
First of all, before we continue, he said you're more like a medium. I know. Well, that's just the way actors describe it, guys. Stop. No, let me explain y'all. Let me learn y'all some stuff real quick. I wish I could just show this on the screen, but you guys are just gonna have to trust me and look it up for yourselves because I'm reading out the Bible. Leviticus 19:31, and I'm doing the ESV for all of our friendly listeners. Do not turn to mediums or necromancers. Do not seek them out, and so make yourselves unclean by them. I am the Lord your God. This was given to the Israelites, emphasizing prohibition against consulting mediums or those who claim to communicate with the dead. Whew. All he said was we're becoming a medium. What? I didn't know it went as far as communicating with the dead. Um, which you can't communicate with the dead. It's really it's demons. So I'm sorry for everybody that thinks. Um, let me give grace, because I don't think anybody's like that. There's something wrong with you if you think this, but this right here is telling you not to communicate with the dead. You know, if somebody's in heaven and they're living their lives in heaven and they're good, they're so focused on God, they're not down here. If somebody disagrees with me, it's not like I don't have any problem with you. Um, it's all love. Uh, you know what I'm saying? But that's just what I just read out of here. So that's my understanding of it. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I could definitely be wrong about some things, so I'm not saying I know everything. Let me clarify. Deuteronomy 18:10 through 12. There shall not be found among you anyone who burns his son. Oh, goodness, that's some crazy stuff. Sorry, let me see. What did I have on here? Okay. 1 Samuel 28:3 through 25. This passage tells the story of King Saul consulting a medium. He consulted a medium, and we already know the witch of Endor. It's like to summon the spirit of a deceased prophet. We should not be talking to the dead. When he says becoming a medium, I know he might be using this in some different type of term for actors or whatever, but that's what it's talking about, yo. That's what a medium is. But I'm gonna go even further with the video. Isaiah 8:19. And when they say to you, inquire of the medium and the necromancer who chirp and mutter, should not a people inquire of their God? Should they inquire of the dead on behalf of the living? Look, if he's not trying to reach the dead, oh my gosh, yo, y'all might think, oh, this is just method acting, right? Let me just play the video. Let me show y'all. Let me show y'all what this man says after this.
You know, you go into this zone and you really divorce yourself of who you are. And you just become a garment that something else puts on. Now,
Right.
a lot of people sit up there and do impersonations of other folks, you know, instead of allowing that spirit, you know. But I sit up and I'll
Do you hear what this man is saying? Jesus. Gotta pray. Let's see some praise. What is it? Open the floodgates of heaven. Let it rain. I gotta get that. I gotta get that spirit off of here. You feel me? Cause what I just heard, I'm scared now. Let me see. Checking the Instagram chat real quick. I used to do tarot. I would pray to God, but I was only speaking with demons. Psst, I'm telling you, Dolly Bone. Yes, yes, yes. You preach that. You say that now. And I'm just curious. Like, is it like a thing where you are fully convinced that you're actually speaking to the dead? Or are these people like, I know there are probably some that are just manipulative. I mean, you got atheists in every camp. You got atheists that are preachers. You got atheists that are, you know, fortune tellers and they just doing what they got to do to make money. You got preachers that act like fortune tellers that don't believe in God. That's just doing this for a check. I mean, if you don't believe in God, what you got to worry about? You know what I'm saying? But listen to this, man. It gets worse. It gets crazier.
pray for a little bit and go in a dark place, go in the bathroom, turn off the lights, look in the mirror. Um, we'll have the light on it first.
Before I play the rest of this, yo, this man just said I go into a dark place. Now, the Bible actually uses that. I'm telling you, the way that the devil does. Um, dark. I wish I had a auto correction on here. Okay, so the people who walked in darkness have seen great light, right? Those who dwelt in a land of deep darkness, of them has light shone. Well, that's something metaphorical, sorry. Light shines in the darkness. I forget what the verse is. I'm sorry. But there's a verse about when you go into a dark place, the land of the dead, this is a good thing, right? But the way he's doing it, it's a very bad thing, obviously, because he's trying to allow something else to come into him. And if it's not Jesus, if it ain't, I mean, I say, yeah, if it's not Jesus, if it's not God, if it's not, I mean, same thing. Very interesting. I'm just going to play the rest of this, man.
And then after 1 minute, turn the light off and, and search until you see
Let me
your
go back a
own
little
glow.
bit.
Um, we'll have light on it up, and I'll pray for a little bit and go in a dark place, go in the bathroom, turn
Who's he
off the
praying to?
lights, look in the mirror. Um, we'll have light on it first, and then after 1 minute,
Also,
turn the light off and and search until you see your own glow, your own aura, and then you watch it change.
Wow.
And it's a scary thing
Yeah.
because you'll feel like some hands are on you,
Wow.
and you lose a little bit of control of what you're doing. But if you stay with it, you'll be inhabited by something, and then you walk out, and the character's
Wow.
with you, and
bruh, he just said you're going to feel some hands on you when you do this. You'll be inhabited. Like, that's normal. Yeah, the demon's going to take over your soul, but, it happens. It's a part of the acting process. Like, are you serious? This man, now, I'm going to tell you, the orange wig, I didn't know what it was. I was like, what kind of style is this, bro? I think it's his hair, actually. I think that's what he said. But it's for a movie. He doesn't just rock his hair like that. But this man just said when you go into a dark room, you're going to look at yourself in the mirror for a certain amount of time. You're going to see yourself, okay? And then you're going to turn the lights off. And then what told him to do this? Where did he get this idea from? He doesn't say, I learned this from this. I learned this from so and so. Like, who gave you this idea to do this? I mean, you're saying you basically whoever is supposed to be that role. You go into a dark room or you go into a room, you look at yourself in the mirror, you turn the lights off eventually, and you stare, and then you empty yourself and let the other thing come in, and you'll feel some hands on you, and then you'll be inhabited. That's why I said the devil is the one that taught this man math. The Terryology came from Terrence, tarot cards and demons. Terryology came from a demonic force. That's what I'm talking about. Terryology ain't yeah. That's a demonic ritual. Everybody want to come up with something. Get a Nobel Peace Prize or something like that. Yeah, Dr. Bone said that math ain't mathing. It's not. It's really
and
not.
immediately bond to beryllium because it's equal and opposite mate. So I was like, and the oxygen is feminine because it's part of the expansive side, whereas the beryllium is the masculine. So there's always this balance of masculine and feminine in the world that we see and in everything that we do. So I was like, how can a male god produce a male son without a feminine deity? Where does that come from? And the stories of Jewish folklore, I appreciate, the Israelites and their story, but they're not part of my history. So why am I subscribing to their?
Oh, well. So many points there. So many points. First, the God has to be feminine, is what he's saying. That God has to be a woman, because how does a son give birth to a son? How does a man give birth to a son, right? First of all, like we already know, we talk about a spirit. So for you to simplify it to something like that, that's that thing. That's that 1 × 1 = 2. That's that. It's you're so smart in other areas that it allows you to miss over very simple, common sense type things. I believe that's kind of to me, I don't know what it is, but it sounds a little schizophrenic to me. But I'm not a doctor. I'm not prescribing people. But that's what it sounds like when I see those movies. I'll say where the schizophrenics, um, they see this world, and then all of a sudden they become, they understand like, oh, Shutter Island. Oh, I didn't understand. My brain wasn't working right. So that's what he said. I think in his world, he's a genius. He's very smart, and even some of the stuff he says, he's very smart. But it's like with an explanation like that, like I wish he would have I mean, yeah, I don't know. I wish he would have a conversation with like a real Christian or a real theist, somebody. But he says God has to. You're saying God has to be a woman? Because how can a man give birth to a son? Okay, well, at least you're not believing that. So you obviously have to deny all of the alphabet gang characters. If you're saying that, hopefully you deny the alphabet gang characters, that they're actual things and there's only a man or a woman. There's no in between, there's no both. It's just a man or a woman. So hopefully that's where you land. But this is what World Mission Society Church of God in Christ do. They look at the first scripture. They look at the first chapter in Genesis. What is it? Genesis 1:26. This is what they do. But they come up with two gods from this verse. Okay. So Genesis 1:26. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the." Okay, where is it? I think it's 27 is the part. Genesis 1:26 and 27. Okay. This is very interesting. I'm having a good time over here, y'all. Please like the video if you're enjoying the content. It helps us to get the video content out there. And also subscribe. If you're feeling it, hit the bell notification, get notified every time we go live. So Genesis 1:26. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish in the sea." Okay. So God created man in his own image, and in the image of God created him, male and female, he created them. So you see that? Basically, guys, there's got to be two separate male and female gods. Because so God created male in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female, he created them. Let's use Terrence Howard logic and see how this applies. So if there's a male and a female and they have to be created in the image, that means there must be a male God image and a female God image. Boom. But it says he created them. And I'm not talking about Legion for We Are Many, the other, letter in the community. All respect to y'all, but I'm just saying it's not true. So he created them. So, I mean, obviously, you probably don't believe in the Bible, but you can't just go off of whatever's in your head. Because if you go off of logic, that means there's no spiritual being outside. That means the Father outside. If you say, oh, well, everything has to match nature, you're living your life off a concept that you can't really prove. Like you're dealing with supernatural. So if you're dealing with supernatural, that means that if you say everything has to be natural, then there can't be a God. If you say everything is based off of male and female, that God has to be a woman because he's the only one that can give birth. First of all, father is a term that shows authority. So it has nothing to do with, God doesn't have genitalia. He doesn't have male organs to give seed. In that sense, he is both male and female, but he doesn't work that way. He doesn't work that way. He doesn't have a gender in that sense. But God has to be a woman. That's not even that doesn't even need to be a debate. If God is a woman, God's a man. Like this is ridiculous when people start saying the gender of God because um because of some natural thing, the gender of God has to be this. It's like, okay, well, that's nature we're talking about. Does God have hands? Does God, because naturally most beings have hands and feet and, you know, but then what about the animals though? And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds, heavens. I mean, who created them? Are there animal gods too? Like, it's like if you're gonna take that position, then you need to take it consistently across the board. Because then how can a woman give birth if there's no seed giver? You know what I'm saying? Like, that means there has to be two gods. Then the world, mission, society, church, and God of Christ is right. Let's see. Let's see the rest of this video. All right. Am I at the end? What happened? Was that the end of the video?
I was born.
Oh, sorry, I missed it.
Can't set you free. That's why I was like, okay, well, if I have to
Oh,
say
sorry. I'm
it
trying
has
to.
masculine. Oh, well, I don't consider
Sorry.
there is no good or bad with you, and you got to know how to say goodbye to it.
Trying to
If
find
you
the.
really want to
Yeah,
get there,
right, yeah.
a lot of people are afraid,
Mhm.
to empty themselves and be filled up.
Of
I'll
course.
pray for a little bit and go into control of what you're doing, but
Sorry, I'm trying to
Wow.
find the.
you put on whatever you need for the John. Put
Mhm.
on, you're turning a trick, you're turning an emotional trick.
Wow.
And it's nothing
Yeah.
more glorious
Yeah.
than that.
Okay.
Glorious.
So how do you balance the separation of who you really are? Or are they similar?
No, no, no. I mean, you got to remember, we've been here since the very beginning. There is no good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's just your perspective that you're sitting from. Is it beneficial for everyone around, or is it not? There's something that has to build up, and there's something that needs to tear it down.
Mm-hmm.
What we call the tearing of it down, we call it evil or bad, but that's the process of magnetism or
Mm-hmm.
radiation. Radiation tears apart that which was concentrically brought together through electric potential and electric force. Electricity is always seeking a higher pressure condition, trying to get to the center of the apex, whereas magnetism is spinning southwestward, trying to get out.
When
She like, I don't know what he talking about.
you mention creator and universe, can you clarify who you consider the creator to be?
Oh, well, I don't consider the creator to be any of the names that have been personified upon it, because if you think as above so below, and everything in the universe has an equal and opposite mate, even in our chemistry every element has an equal and opposite mate, like the opposite mate of oxygen is a +2 and a -2 within that same octave is
Yeah, he's doing that nature
beryllium.
thing again.
If oxygen is bonded with any other element,
But we're talking about supernatural. We're not talking like the creator can't be this because of what nature says. So he's doing it backwards. Like, nature can't be this way if the supernatural didn't decide it to be that. But yeah, nature can't be this way if supernatural didn't decide it to be that. But what he's saying is, no, God, the one who brought us here, could not be this way because of what his creation, the rules around his creation are. So the rules of creation, you look anywhere in creation and you see that there's a beginning and an end. So that means that God cannot have a beginning and an end. I mean, he has to have a beginning and an end because nature does. It's like, so you can't just compare every supernatural thing with nature. You can't compare God to nature in that sense. oh, because this thing in nature works this way, that means God has to work this way. Like, he uses this argument, and it's really not a sound argument, because he'll consistently, it's going to fall in his face.
Mm-hmm.
The moment that it comes in contact with beryllium,
Mm-hmm.
it will break that other bond and
Wow.
immediately bond to beryllium because it's equal and opposite mate.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, and the oxygen is feminine because it's part of the expansive side, whereas the beryllium is the masculine. So there's always this balance of masculine and feminine
Okay.
in the world that we see
Mm-hmm.
and in everything that we do. So I was like, how can a male god produce a male son without a feminine deity?
Mm-hmm.
Where does that come from?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the stories of Jewish folklore, I appreciate, you know, the Israelites and their story, but they're not part of my history.
Mm-hmm.
So why am I subscribing to their deities? How have that been placed upon us? Why is it that
Good.
black men who are not Jewish are getting circumcised when we are not part of
Mm-hmm.
that Israelite place? Why are we following their gods that
Okay.
they came up with?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he says they're gods that they came up with, I mean, that's the whole question. Are these gods that we came up with? Or are they a god? Is it a god that we discovered? Not even discovered. That the God that showed himself to us. Um, when you're dealing with what type of God you serve, you have to do some research to make sure it's the true God. Now, if someone comes and shows me like, yo, it's actually this God that you should be serving, you're gonna need some very hard proof, some hardcore evidence to show me that there's a better God out there to serve than the one that I serve. But I'm not serving these guys. Like, you think it's people do a lot of, because of what the origin story says, that's how I choose what I do. I don't care as much about the origin story as I do the details of the story. If a person robs a bank and they're a terrible person and they did some really messed up stuff and then they give me this good thing, I'm not going to ask, "Wait, where did it come from?" I'm going to say, "What is this thing that you're giving me? Is it good? If it's good, I'll take it." Um but obviously, you could do a little bit of research to find out who they are. That can give you some idea on if it's a good thing for you to receive or not. But that doesn't decide if the thing is good or not. You know, like, if someone gives me $100 and, let's say they're a murderer and they just so happen to drop $100 on my doorstep, I'm not going to go look and say, "Oh, I found out that they're a murderer. I don't want this money." Like, no, I'm going to take the $100 because I don't know who you are. And when I find out that you're a murderer, I'm going to be like, "Oh, I'm not going to go throw the $100 in the trash." Anyways, man, my whole point is the origin story is only relevant as far as figuring out what the object is, what the subject matter is. The origin story, it can give you a little bit of detail information into knowing what is this story, what is this. So it can give you a little information on that. But what I'm not going to do is say, "Oh, because of the origins of this, I'm just going to stop believing in it altogether." Like, what if the origin was messed up, but the thing is actually true? You just got rid of some, you just erased a multiple choice answer off your test because you didn't like the pencil that they gave you to take the test with. You know what I'm saying? Like, or because that's the one answer that was written in red ink. Like, okay, well, that's the true answer. He's basing it off the origin, bro. And that doesn't make sense. But anyways, let's see. It just gets crazier and crazier the more we go. Mrs. Holland, what's up? How are you doing? We in here making videos.
All just one great being.
Yeah.
That's what they forget. We're not separate. We're all, the universe is probably one cell inside.
I think that was the first time he was like super honest. He said probably. I mean, that's just refreshing when someone can say probably and not, this is it. This is the answer and there's no other answer.
Some super organism.
Right.
And we're just
Yeah.
little who, little who's like Horton hears a who and trying to make sense of it. And
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing that we're making sense of it. But everything is just one great being. We're all God. That's what Jesus was talking about. That's what
How you gonna bring up that's what Jesus was talking about and you don't even believe you don't even believe that Jesus is the Messiah at all. You don't believe in that book, right? I don't know.
Buddha was talking about it's recognizing the divinity in you. What I did as a child, I said, I'm going to, instead of waiting for the Messiah to show up, what if everybody picked up their torture stake and behaved and did the things that they had expected the Messiah to do? What if
This is where it gets crazy, y'all. This is where it get crazy. Buckle in. Buckle in. It's about to get crazy. It's gonna get crazy. I think I was in the wrong key, but it's all right.
everybody just for one day walked around
I'm stupid.
and behaved as if they were God himself and did the things that they would expect the creator. And we know God can't just be a male because no man can produce a child without a female. Everything in the universe, as above, so below, like Billy Carson always talks about. You can't.
As above, so below. But what you're saying is, as below, so above.
Everything has an equal and opposite. It has to mate.
Yeah, but everything is not equal to God. That's the one thing that is supernatural that's outside. I don't know, man. It's like when I talk about God, people are like, all right, how can we make God sound like a natural thing? It's like, God is like outside of nature, right? Like he doesn't apply to that. Like, yes, logically, but like naturally speaking, God doesn't apply to the laws of nature, right? I don't know. People just keep on assuming those things. Let me turn this Wi-Fi off real quick. I just want to make sure I'm not like freezing over here. Okay.
Mating is a big part of what we do. The boron mates with nitrogen, and that's how the carbon happens. Everything inside of us, all our cells, they're mating. There's a relationship going on in it. Everything's alive. There is no death, but that the Bible talked about a mechanistic world. God took dirt and blew into it the breath of life, and it came to life. But if you look at the Brownian effect, what is breathing? Going from positive to negative. And they see all these, even the plastic that makes these things up are still going from, it's still carbon, polarizing from positive to negative. Breathing in, breathing out. It's just under a different state of matter, but there is no death. There's no death. Everything's eternal. And once we get rid of the idea, okay, you're going to die and disappear, then they don't have any grasp over you anymore. And to be free, the truth will set you free. That's why I was like, okay, well, if this truth cost me this lifetime, then wonderful, I've accomplished what I needed to do. Because I think in the previous lifetime, I was supposed to do these things and I didn't. And that's why it's been so hard for me. And that's why I've pushed so hard to get these things out because
So you felt like that, like
Video
from the
paused.
womb.
from the womb, I had
So
to get
you
this
felt
done.
like you had these things that you didn't get out in a previous lifetime, and now you feel like an unstoppable urge.
I have to at all costs.
So can I go? I would love to talk more about this, but I don't want to lose this thought. So if I want to go back.
Okay, I don't know why this would pause. That's weird. I don't know. I don't know what happened. That was crazy. So I don't know, bro. Some of those videos. Hopefully, we're back on. I don't know, but some of those videos, man. I don't know. Some of those videos that those interviews or whatever. Some people just like. Yeah, I don't know if it's the connection or, but I did see that one of those interviews. I think somebody. I might have to cut it out, the video, because some people like to copyright things because they don't want it in their video. It's probably the view. I don't know. But yeah, so that's a very interesting take. I don't know if you guys have any comments, concerns, or anything like that, but I just think that this is some super interesting stuff. I'm definitely going to keep, a lot of these topics going. But yeah, I just think it's very wild. I'm just going to turn this. How am I going to do this? Sorry, I just don't want any sound from that. I just want to make sure everything's going. Yeah, but so I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I think it's amazing how people can come up with some of the things they come up with, and they can use, nature to do it. So this is what I was going to end with. If he started with the hypothesis, that's fine. Like, I don't have a problem with him saying, like, 1 times 1 is 2, 0 doesn't exist. I don't have a problem with him just saying it, because when he says it, I'm like, okay, explain. When your explanation sounds crazy, I'm like, okay, well, you obviously don't have, a hold on it. You don't have an answer for it. So, but he's allowing his conclusion. He's not allowing his conclusion to change. He just has a hypothesis, and he's keeping this hypothesis forever, and he won't allow it to change. But when you research something, like the deity of God, you have to be willing to change the way that you see things. You have to be willing to change that. Like anything you study. When I study things in the Bible, I go back and forth. Uh, I think that happened when I was studying clean meat, unclean meat. I was studying, all right, is eating pork a sin? Is eating this a sin? And I went back and forth. I was like, it's a sin. Yeah. Wait, no, it's not a sin because he cleaned it. It's like, wait, no, he didn't clean it. He just, it's not a sin, but it's not the healthiest thing to eat. And then I was like, no, he made it. I went back and forth with my hypothesis and what my thought process was, because you have to allow that to happen. But what some people do, they have a hypothesis and they push that hypothesis until the very end, and they keep that there, and they don't allow themselves to change or be corrected, because the second they get any ounce of information, they run with it. And I'm like, don't do that. It's okay to speak what you believe, like where you are at the moment, but right now, don't just stick to that and stay there. You know what I'm saying? Like, take some time to assess the situation and be willing to change your mind, because you could be wrong. But yeah, guys, um, that was the end of the show for today. Please, guys, like the video on your way out. Really helps us out. We're getting the video out to as many people as possible. If you enjoyed the content, subscribe. If you're feeling it, hit the bell notification. Get notified every time we go live. We go live every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look, man, it's a blessing to be on here. Brother Ashley is keeping it locked. He got that extra camera if we need it. Look, man. Everybody enjoy your weekend. God bless y'all, man.